Hey people, how's it going? We got the next fest for the first quarter of January, nope.
It's February, idiot.
of February 2026. They do one every 3 months, and we're reviewing just a ton of Steam demos.
Howdy, potty people. I have 4 inches. Paris is possibly longer. He has refused to commit to his size.
Jesus
We are
Christ.
once again streaming Steam
God,
Next
okay.
Fest demos.
Fuck, man. Asshole.
Of course, I was recording that. Yeah, good luck, bitch. When it comes to the editing. So, Sledding Game was a game that we kind of slid in at the end. We were planning to record, realized, oh shit, there's this game that looked fun. We could probably record it in like 10 to 15 minutes just to get the gist of it, and then we can talk about it. An hour passed before my game crashed, and that's how we found out, oh fuck, we've played too long, let's, that should count. So that should tell you something about the game.
Yeah, I set a timer for 10 minutes because I was on trying to get this recording going as fast as possible, and we we just lost track of time and played a whole hour.
So Sledding Game is essentially it's just like a big sandbox. It sort of has the vibes of something like web fishing, where the gimmick behind it is it's just you should be in a lobby full of people. It has voice chat if you want it, and you just go around and dick around. You can launch yourself via cannons, go sledding, buy tickets, buy confetti cannons, buy tents, buy snowball fight. I mean, there's just so much content in the demo alone that makes this worth playing.
Yeah, when I first got into it, I kind of expected there to not be much to do. I was like, this game I'll play for 10 minutes, whatever, it looks boring. And then I just kind of I put on some of the cosmetics and just kind of started sledding and doing tricks and stuff, and I was like, oh, this has a vibe to it. It's just, it's just hanging out with the boys.
I mean it's hard to describe Sledding Game because the gameplay is so stock simple where it's just kind of like all you do is use the arrow keys to rotate your sled, and if you land you keep going, if you don't land you ragdoll. So there's not even real tricks to do. And but I mean, you go into the lodge, and there's, you can exchange money through tickets through a spinning wheel, so there's already
Also, there's a
gambling,
ton of mini
and then
games,
there's a ton of
ton of
cosmetics to
mini
buy.
games, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that you can play cornhole, darts, you can snowball fight. There's just so much shit.
it's a very well designed co-op game. There's a lot of things to do, not necessarily together. Other than the sledding part, there should be more stuff that you can do, more like cooperative mini games. I would wish for that. Other than the mini games around the map, there's just a bunch of things to find. Like there's
The
just
best
like
part is the game.
Easter eggs to find from other games and stuff like that. There's a bunch of like little puzzles and stuff to find around the map. It kind of gives me the vibe of like a Legend of Zelda. It's weird.
Yeah, the I think the best part is the game doesn't tell you any of the stuff we're describing. It throws you in a lodge and goes, okay, fuck off. And your goal is to just walk around the map and find the stuff to do. So when this game launches and you probably play in a lobby of like 16 people, it is going to be you and a bunch of dumbasses just walking around the map screaming at each other going, guys, look what I found, as you like find cosmetics or go fishing, or you can instigate races and see who's the fastest. And there's just so much shit.
Yeah. This is gonna be Northern Lion is gonna be playing this in like 3 months. He's gonna be streaming this with way too many loud, annoying VTubers. DM me, please. And no, this looks like so much fun. If you have a bunch of friends to play with, this looks great.
So that's more or less Sledding Game. It's hard to talk about because you're not there because the gameplay is amazing. You're there because it is a toy box. That's fun to do with in co-op.
Oh, it gives me the vibes of like Goat Simulator but multiplayer. That's what it
Yep,
feels like a little bit.
Goat Simulator combined with the atmosphere of web fishing.
Yeah. Ardenfall looks amazing so far. This game feels very much like an Elder Scrolls game. It is very hard to get the Elder Scrolls right because the Elder Scrolls has a very particular vibe, which not many games get well. You have to be able to go in a random direction and within 30 seconds be able to find something that is interesting and that leads into a quest and that affects the world around it at all times. And Ardenfall does that very well. I've seen very few games do that. Sure, like you have a bunch of Ubisoft games or like Ghost of Tsushima. In Ghost of Tsushima, there's a ton of things to do like every 30 seconds or whatever, but like they're a bunch of boring bullshit that you don't care about. Like tiny puzzles or quizzes or whatever the fuck. Who cares? In games like The Elder Scrolls, every single thing you'll find will tie into a quest somehow. There's almost nothing in the map that has nothing to do with the lore or a quest or some bullshit at some point in the game. It's fascinating. And Ardenfall so far appears to be doing that. Every single NPC you find has interesting dialogue that reacts to all the other NPCs you've talked to already, all of the effects you've had on the world around you, all of the actions you've taken. Everything seems to react to you as the player. And I frankly haven't seen any game series do that ever other than the Elder Scrolls and pull it off successfully in a meaningful way. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff like Dragon Age and stuff which like kind of get there, but they're like they got their foot in the door but not quite all the way, you know. The Elder Scrolls goes fucking balls deep.
One thing I appreciated is that I am sick to fucking death of every single RPG being just another take on Tolkien's like fantasy. It's why I can't really play D&D anymore. And what I really loved about Ardenfall is it's going for a very Eastern feel to its weapons and art style. Its art style is almost like you are playing underwater. Instead of like snow drifting down, it's like bubbles coming up from these vents. The trees are made of coral.
The art style of the game reminds me of a lot of like Expedition 33, not in art quality or whatever, obviously, but because there's in Expedition 33, there's a whole section of the game that's just like underwater, and there's like corals all over the place, and it looks like that. It's very cool.
One of the main quests is that there's like a creature blocking your path, and it's like this giant koi fish looking thing. And I just really appreciate that I'm being immersed in a world that I feel like I actually haven't seen before, or a world that isn't as familiar and overdone as a lot of other directions. Also, I just really liked the combat. I didn't really get to try the magic system out, which sucks because there are a ton of magic spells. But actually switching between different stuff using the hotbar was far more convenient than having to quick bind and use the radial menu of something like Skyrim, so I definitely preferred the way this game handled it. But I liked that melee combat actually felt good to use, with it just basically only having parrying, blocking, heavy, and light attacks. That was enough to make the combat already feel better than Skyrim, where I just kind of swing a baseball bat around.
Well, two things. I did exactly the opposite of you did. I kind of went completely into magic and didn't try out the melee very much.
That's why I did melee, because I knew you would do magic.
in the first couple minutes where you get the first katana and that's the only thing you have to fight with for a while, it did feel a lot more engaging than Skyrim. And a lot better than the magic. The magic was... well, okay. Skyrim magic is very clunky and very stupid and very unfulfilling to use. And
Hold E to fart out your hands.
And in this game, it was kind of clunkier and less engaging than it was in Skyrim. It didn't have that, you know, Half-Life 2, the world reacts to you because you hit it with a crowbar kind of thing. Like, it didn't feel like I was doing something meaningful. Like, the sounds were just kind of off and the animations were annoying, and none of the spells have, like, auto-aim or whatever, so you'd shoot off a spell, but the enemy already walked off screen, so it's not gonna hit damage. It was okay, you know, it was fine. Melee combat definitely seemed a lot more interesting, and when I replay this game, whenever the game comes out, I'm probably gonna do melee, unless they radically change the magic, because it was okay.
I also genuinely loved the monster design. I love playing RPGs where creatures just feel weird as fuck. I loved climbing up a hill that I didn't expect and seeing what was the equivalent of like a mix between a skeleton and a Daedra. But there's a monster that when you walk in, he didn't have a lot of health. I killed him, and his head just popped right off and started flying at me, and I was like, what the fuck? That actually creeped me out. I love shit like that when games can like surprise me with its monster design.
In the monster design department, in the enemy design department in particular, it reminded much more of like a Morrowind, where most things are like mollusks and bugs and a bunch of stuff like that, a bunch of like really strange animals. And for the enemies, and it going for a lot more of like a Asian Oriental or whatever the words are, aesthetic reminded me a lot of, there's in the Elder Scrolls just like something called the Dragon Guard, and then blah blah blah. There's this whole like Emperor's Guard thing, and they use katanas and samurai armor, and they're just weebs. Pretty much, they're just Japanese samurai, and it doesn't mesh at all with Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls in general. And this world feels like a combination of that, like underwater levels and like that like Japanese undercurrent in the Elder Scrolls. It is a very I haven't been excited to explore a game world in a long time, you know, and this game, it has its hooks in me so far.
It also seems very, the monsters and everything seems very like, has a close ties to something like a spirit realm from something like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Again, one of the first quests is there's a creature stuck in a wall, and I'm like, they're like, no, don't attack it, you'll piss it off, you're not going to be able to do anything about that. And I went, okay, watch me, idiot. And I go up, and I felt so bad for this thing. And you can end up petting it, and it ends up like liking you, and like it's so sweet. And I actually then wanted to be like, okay, I want to save this creature and not just murder it and try to get it out of the hole. And I don't know. I like that that twist. It almost feels like in Pokemon where you got to get the Snorlax out of the road almost.
What did you get? What was the result with that? Did you get it out, or what happened?
I did not get as far as you. I think I
Okay.
did not. I was not able to get it out of the wall.
Okay, because there's I'll probably cut most of this out. I don't want to spoil it or whatever. There's a trapdoor that you can unlock. You can lockpick it open, and you can go down, and there's this like beam holding up the creature inside, because like it had like a cave in or whatever. And I removed the beam to try to like unlodge the creature, but the creature fell into the hole I was in and then got crushed by the rocks above it, and it just died right there. And I felt so bad, dude. Oh my god. I was not going to kill it. I was completely on the camp of the locals, and I was like, I'm gonna save this creature. And then the first thing I try kills it instantly. I was like, oh my god.
Me when I accidentally drop a piano on Parthenax.
Oh, dude. That's what save scumming is for. You can't play an Elder Scrolls game without save scumming. That's cheating.
But I think those are the marks of a good RPG, where it manages to do something other than just, hey, would you like to be a dick or would you like to be the good guy? Moral choices, like, I think that actually is what makes a good RPG. And it punishes you for even just trying to do the right thing. You're not always guaranteed to get the outcome that you want. And I think that makes RPGs worth playing through. Okay, so let's talk about Alabaster Dawn. I'm engaged. This might be the most excited game I think I'm looking forward to, if I'm being honest, in terms of both story, gameplay, looks. I mean, just everything. I guess I'll just open with the story, because the game is fucking really smart in what it does, in that it basically sets up a bunch of hooks and questions, and the rest of the game is trying to explore those questions. So the central question, there's I guess like a meteor / god that's fallen from the sky in the end of the world. And the gods have chosen multiple heroes to go out and, like, I think it's like 12 of them, to go out and like fight the corruption and then slay this god meteor thing, whatever it is. And right as that they're at the end, the gods like disengage their power. So all of your weapons like basically just dissolve out of your hands. Imagine mid greatsword swing and you end up just whiffing into dust. Like, you know, and then all of the heroes die. Everyone is sealed in like these Fallout-esque chambers, and then there's one hero that wakes up that's an outcast, and the gods are quiet, no one's heard from them. So you have the questions of like, what actually is the corruption? What happened to this hero's family? Why are they an outcast? Where did the gods go? Like, there are so many questions this game poses right out the gate that make you go, okay, let's figure out what the hell is going on.
And the important part
I think that's
is
so brilliant.
that it doesn't answer any of the questions. That's the very important part. It doesn't answer them, which is great. Is exactly what I wanted. For the past 2 years or so, I got the itch to play through the original RPGs. You know, the classics, because I've been playing a lot of games and seeing a lot of references to other things that I didn't understand. And so I made a list of all the retro games I wanted to play, which is frankly too many. There are too many years, because the good RPGs have been going for 50 years? Like, actually 50 year? Final Fantasy is like that shit is almost 50 years old. That's insane, dude. Okay, so we have I've been playing through all the Final Fantasies. I'm at like Final Fantasy 5 right now. I'm playing through the Dragon Quest. I'm playing Chrono Cross. I'm playing The Secret of Mana, and all of these games are blowing my fucking mind. And all of these games are older than most of your parents probably, and it is insane, dude. I'm so JRPG pilled right now, and I am so excited for Alabaster Dawn. I played through the demo, it just blew my mind. When we finish this, I'm probably gonna immediately start Crosscode, which is the previous game the studio made before the Alabaster Dawn demo, and it looks just as amazing. I am so hyped for this game, dude. The animation quality and the pixel art and the music and the feel of the combat and the smoothness of the combat and all the different abilities and the unlocks and the story beats and how it's like the dialogue and the animation for the cutscenes. Like, dude, everything about this game.
It's amazing pixel art that's layered on top of 3D models, so you get the joy of watching a character spin in 3D, and all the layers that come from that. But I don't know if they drew over those layers or if they use like a pixel art filter on top of that to render. I don't know exactly how it works, but because of that, you get a level of how characters move and rotate that you can't get in traditional pixel art while still being a pixel art game, which is where this game really shines. And the world is just traditional pixel art. I mean, the water is gorgeous, and just the music is so calm, and being on the beach made me just want to like sleep forever in that zone.
I think I'm looking at the footage right now. I think they have a bunch of different angles for every body part, and then they're manipulating the texture of individual body parts. I don't think this is 3D. I'm pretty sure it's 2D, and they have animated a bunch of different angles, and they're moving the angles by just manipulating them, like it's a puppet. It's such a fascinating animation style. I really don't think it's 3D.
But I know the combat is also really good, where you can alternate between using a melee weapon and a ranged weapon just intermittently, like just different clicks do different things, so you're not even having to like swap between the two weapons. So if there's a boss that's giving you trouble, okay, you could just hang back and use range on it, but the game, you do more damage if you get up close, so the game rewards you for that. There's like almost like a poise meter, where if you do enough damage, the poise meter, the enemy gets stunned, and then you can go in for massive amounts of damage. So you could kind of do like chip damage range and then close in for the kill, depending on how you want. You can then just press Q and switch to a second like hot swap bar, so then you can use different types of weapons. So now you're using multiple ranged weapons, multiple melee weapons, all just by like tapping one button to swap to another loadout. And it feels so good to be able to just walk up to one enemy type, hit them with the hammer, then switch to a sword by tapping Q, and then using whatever ranged weapon you want to finish them off. Different enemies will spawn on different layers of the map, so you can't just like walk in and use a sword to clear everything. You have to be switching between the two weapons to snipe enemies that spawned on towers, while also being able to get close melee-wise. Some enemies require different weapons to actually do more damage to them. Some enemies only can really be damaged by parrying them instead of dodge rolling their attacks. It feels really complex, but what's really happening is there's a ton of options in the game. There are effective ways to handle enemies. You don't necessarily have to pick the most effective route to damage them, but it is fun to just swap and deal with the enemies in a way that you think is more engaging. Do you want to kill all the ads using the sword first and then snipe? Do you want to just snipe the enemies, then jump into the ads? How do you want to handle it? Oh, then there's also a skill tree depending on how you want to build the character, whether you want to make them break the poison meter faster, or whether you want to do crit damage or more base damage, and then you get gemstones that you unlock by exploring in the world that you can then use to modify your weapons that then modify the stats of the different weapon types. It is very complex, and every single time you unlock something, you get a pop-up that's like, hey, do you want a tutorial or skip it? If you do the tutorial, it just walks you through like a video. It's so good.
The other thing, I think the bosses are very well designed mechanically. In a lot of 2D games, even like 2.5D like this game, I always have trouble telling like the depth of where the bosses are, like where they're gonna fall, and it just works in my brain. Whatever. Anyways, fighting all the bosses feels really great. It's kind of astounding, this demo. There's not a single aspect of it I didn't like. There was nothing wrong with it, which is unheard of, especially for a demo.
It also will be the perfect mobile game, like on a Switch or a Steam Deck, and I'm looking forward to getting it on one of those platforms.
Yeah.
I did not mean on the
Yeah,
phone.
I'm not sure it would translate well to the phone, but I could be wrong. There's a lot of games that really shouldn't work, and they do. But
if they can put Death Stranding on the iPhone 16, we can put this game.
That's not what I meant. I meant something more like Transistor, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Alabaster Dawn, it's got a lengthy demo.
Oh yeah, it's long. So
I would recommend, if you're interested, go try the demo, because you're gonna put like quite a amount of time in it, and you'll instantly know whether you like it or not.
It took me an hour, and I didn't even finish the demo. I just finished. There's a part where the demo section ends, and they kind of skip you forward in the game, and I was like, no, this is where I'm done. And I had an hour without finishing the whole demo. So
they also do this thing where there's a big overworld for you to explore, and there's a main village that you're building up. So you're also going into the overworld, doing like side quests for people as you get to watch a village slowly rebuild itself, but also gets attacked from like these creatures. Like, there's so much to this game that I'm excited for, that I think people are going to really appreciate.
I was a bit worried because they're going for like a post-apocalyptic, like a Fallout world where everyone's in bunkers. I was a bit worried that there wasn't going to be any like culture or towns or settlements or whatever to explore and learn the culture of the world, because I'm very interested in the lore of this place, and it's good knowing that there's stuff above ground that isn't just just more enemies. So there's this game called The Replaced, which looks amazing. And for some context here, this game was announced at the Game Awards like 2022. And they didn't have a gameplay trailer, they just announced it. And I saw it, and it looked just amazing. Like one of the most beautiful 2.5D games I have ever seen. And I was a bit hesitant about caring about it because I don't like platformers that much. They're just not for me, like 2D platformers. But over these 4 years that this game was announced and took to come out, I played a bunch of other games which reminded me of this game now in retrospective. Like Katana Zero and one of my favorite games of all time called Sanabi. And now I've grown to like this style of game a lot more, which is very convenient now that this game is released in demo and coming out. At the time, I thought the trailer was just a trailer. I was like, there's no way the gameplay is actually going to look like that. And no. The trailer was basically gameplay. Like it's not like a pre-rendered CG. Like it just, the gameplay just looks like that. It's insane.
How do I even... So again, this is definitely a 3D game with a like almost pixel layer on top of it, but I don't know how they're doing the rendering with the lighting engine on top of it. It kind of gives me... This is going to be a bad comparison, but it almost reminds me of Octopath Traveler, where it's a blend of old school style with a bunch of like new gen effects, but they look good, where I find a lot of games that use like heavy shadows and god rays are just like, we hit the Unreal Engine 5 look good button.
Yeah.
And this game does not do that.
That's the thing I was gonna say. This game looks very much like a Sanabi or a Katana Zero in the 2.5D style. Sorry, not 2.5. The HD 2D, which is a thing they're doing with Octopath Traveler and a bunch of other games that they're remaking now, where they make it look like this. But this game is a lot higher quality because the pixel art really fits in with the 3D assets. In some of those games, like the newest Dragon Age 3 that they re-released it, I think. Sorry, not Dragon Age. Dragon Quest 3 remake. The 3D objects don't really mix with the pixel art very well, and this game does it impeccably. I was having trouble figuring out what was pixel art and what was 3D. That's how well made this game is. It is impressive. It's taking the HD 2D style and just going balls deep in it. It is, oh my god.
It's that and the animation, which I swear they might have used like mocapping on it, because the way the character stumbles and grabs onto things is very subtle and detailed with the way like his joints move. But then on top of that, when something explodes, the camera like rears back to reveal the explosion. Like there is a moment where a rail car like explodes and comes flying towards you, and so the camera like leers almost like over the character as this rail car flies towards the camera. So the camera is willing to work and move forward or back depending on what's happening, allowing the game to be more cinematic instead of being stapled permanently to the single line of which the character can move. In animation, when it comes to platforming, it doesn't do the thing where everything is painted in yellow, or objects that you can climb are limited to a couple of 3 repeating objects. I mean, yeah, the stuff is highlighted for you.
It kind of does do that, yeah.
Not really.
Like it literally does do the yellow paint thing. Like it does do that.
Well, it'll have like...
I'll highlight stuff on the video side to show off what I mean, but yeah.
But it'll have like, you'll look at where to climb.
It doesn't feel out of
just
place.
Like an arrow,
it doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah, instead of an arrow pointing up, it'll be like a rail that you could grab, but the rail is coming from a broken piece of machinery, but the machinery is yellow. So you know what to grab, but it doesn't feel like the game is just circling in red what to do. You do actually have to look at the environment and go, that looks like it might be climbable, and see if that you can try to climb it. I do still think the platforming is relatively easy and you can't really fuck up. It kind of reminds me of something more like Uncharted, which I think, for my taste, it's kind of slow, and I don't necessarily... I'm just neutral on the whole concept of it, really. It doesn't really do much for me, but hopefully past the demo, they'll take more guardrails off and let you fuck up with the platforming and actually make it a challenge, which is what I'm hoping for. There's also like a lot of stealth sections where there's like almost like a turret that just scans, and as long as you have to move, not when the turret's looking at you behind a wall, and then when it's not looking at you, you can run. That's not very engaging. So I feel like half the gameplay didn't really do it for me.
The stealth is all right. It's okay.
But then it turns into Arkham Asylum, and then it's fucking awesome.
But the combat, oh my god, the combat is so cool. Holy shit.
It's very repetitive. There's only 2 types of enemies, but it's a demo.
Well, there's
and
3.
What's there is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not counting the boss at the end.
Come on, that counts. Sure. Okay.
There's 2 enemies and 1 boss at the end of the demo.
Oh my god, I'm reviewing the footage again now, and the camera, oh my god, the camera really is part of the gameplay here. I'm gonna like show off a bunch of cool stuff, like when the turret shoots at you the first time, the harpoon goes through the sign and hits the camera, dude. Oh my god, it's so cool. And in combat, the camera tilts and zooms in on your different actions. And so if the action is you pointing a gun down at a person, it will angle the camera so that that plane is you know, horizontal with the camera. Oh, the combat animations, the combat executions are the coolest thing I've seen in any 2D game ever. They're baffling. In how well they're animated, and how well the movement is portrayed, and how well it reads. Like at all times you can tell what is actually happening, which sometimes when games are moving at that speed, it's hard to tell, especially in 2D games. But this, something about how they portray motion on the characters in this game is so amazing, like uniquely amazing. I'm not sure it's rotoscoped as you suggested, but it's like there's something magic about whoever's animating this.
It's also got the aesthetic of it's just Blade Runner. It's that retro futurism where you pull up like a PDA to navigate the menus, and you can see like the hands clicking the physical buttons on the side.
Oh, when you zoom into the menus, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a physical MP3 player. The music is synth. It's like a post-apocalyptic. There's a walled city, and you're on the ruined suburbs of like an overgrown forest with like a bunch of machinery that's collapsed inside. Cliche, but I mean it's still fun and just looks amazing. Especially with how like fucked up the enemies look like. The enemies that use the guns, like their jaw is like half falling off and like deformed, and the enemies move almost like animalistically with like their ghouls, like their joints are fucked up, which makes it all the more satisfying. Your character fights with a baton, and the animation is snappy, so it just feels like it's almost like your character's elbow just snaps into someone's head as you hear the crack as their head tilts, and then the camera spins around as the character like flies someone over his shoulder, and then just everything slows down as he John Wicks points the gun at someone's head and blows it off with like a magnum, and then it goes back. It's so fucking fun. The only thing is that there's only like 2 execution animations that I've seen, so I feel like that. I've definitely triggered more.
You can trigger different execution animations depending on how much momentum you have, and if you're jumping or if you're falling, or like there's a bunch of different things you can do. I like tried it out a bunch of times just to see all the different animations I can find. There's definitely more than 2.
I did use the gun almost as a like, oh, there's an enemy I don't want to deal with. I would just turn mid-combo, shoot a guy off the corner, then turn back and go, okay, back to you, and keep punching.
Yeah, but I did refuse to use the gun as an actual like long-range weapon. That was really boring when you would hit the shoot button and it would just actually shoot. So I would constantly dash into the enemy and then trigger the execution with the gun, because I wanted to look cool, you know? This game does that very well. I was always disappointed when it would fail and just shoot normally.
Yeah, I do think it's fun to be just punching a guy, casually turn over my shoulder, dome someone, go back, and just keep fighting. I will always think that's fun. Because in this game, the gun is basically your super that you build up through punching combos. So it does feel like you're using, like, gun fu is the term, like, the movies use. Yeah, it's really cool, because otherwise you would just spam the pistol every single time.
The demo doesn't, like, have much on lore and story, which is strange. Because the original trailer from 2022 from the Game Awards, it tells you a lot of things that this demo doesn't. Like a lot of lore things, which I feel like you're better off just not knowing. Don't watch the trailer from 5 years ago. Don't do it.
An AI, I don't know if it's controlling you or has embedded in you, but there's an AI that is the government's trying to destroy, or a corporation. And then at the end you team up with a freedom fighter, and that's all you get. I don't know if you're playing as a replicant or whatever it is. It's
the
just
story.
Cyberpunk.
The story hooks.
It's just Blade Runner.
Yeah, the story hooks seem like exactly like the same story hooks in Sanabi and Katana Zero, where you're some like fucked up like government experiment or whatever that got away, and now you're just taking revenge kind of story. Like it feels like that. Like you're going to destroy your creators.
I'm waiting for the final boss fight to be on a staircase where you die on the steps.
in the snow. Yeah. Very Blade Runner.
You're gonna walk into the arena. There's gonna be a staircase. There's gonna be snow coming down, and you know what's gonna happen. Yeah. Press F to die.
Oh my god! I hope so. I hope so. I really want more media to make references to that movie specifically. That is my favorite movie of all time.
I've never seen it.
How dare you?
I just don't watch movies.
God damn it, Rex. We're gonna watch Blade Runner. We're gonna watch both Blade Runners, Rex.
You have to watch a trailer. I mean, if you're watching the video, you're watching the gameplay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those games like Skate Story was last time we did this, where it almost feels like you go there for the visuals. But goddamn, that Arkham style combat, where there's counters and some abilities that you have to dodge through, feels so good to use.
I hope it still does more with it. I hope it doesn't just have everything it's already shown off and nothing but that, because what is there feels genuinely amazing.
But what was there was satisfying, snappy, and I can't wait to see more. I want to see more combos. I want to see more enemy variety that I have to deal with. I want to see platforming that's more challenging. I'm ready to see what the game throws at me. I was worried if you look at the trailer. My first thought was, how the fuck is this going to be playable? Like, it does look like it'd be almost like a walking sim, or just a game that's entirely on rails, and that is not what this is. Alrighty, let's talk about Blood Vial. Blood Vial, simple pitch. Your health, it drains as you move, and so you need to kill enemies, absorb blood by being a squid or a kid like you're from goddamn Splatoon. And that's the entire game. It's speed running, there's a hallway, you run down and you kill rats, and that's the game. Paris beat the demo in 3 minutes. It's I've described everything. I don't know what else you want from me.
Not on my first try, though. It is like a quintessential like speedrunner game, where once you understand all the mechanics, you can speedrun the living hell out of this. I just hope the game is very long, because again, I finished the demo, there's like 5 levels, I think. On my last try, I speedrun the whole thing in 3 minutes. So that gives you a.
What makes the game good is the combination of its gimmick, but its gimmick then ties into its movement tech. So when I say that it's Splatoon, when you kill an enemy, it bursts into blood, and then you can dive into the blood, but when you do that, you start absorbing it. So as you move, all the blood gets absorbed. You gain health, but then you're forced to pop back up because there's no more blood. So the gimmick is that you're killing enemies and then diving through the blood. But there'll be walls.
It also makes you move faster.
Yes, it makes you move way faster, and you can't get hit either. So you'll dodge bullets by diving through the blood, right? But then there'll be like a wall, and you could either just go around the wall, or you can eject blood out and then dive under the wall through the blood that you made. Or there's a wall in front of you. You can turn to the left and run up the staircase, or throw blood against the wall and then ride the blood up. But when you throw out blood, that's your health, so you gotta reabsorb it. They do give you a special where you can hold down F and just absorb all of the blood in the area if you're low. So the game is essentially just sprinting as fast as you can, diving through blood, and then using that blood as movement tech to move throughout the level. And then there is a combo meter where the faster you move with more enemies, because diving under in the blood stops the combo meter from going down. So you can essentially just squirt blood out, run through, then pop up an enemy, build the combo meter, dive back in the blood, and then keep on moving. It feels good, it's fun. I think you're playing as a vampire. The only thing that sucks in the demo is there are it's not that it's short, it's that there's 3 enemies. There's a guy with a gun, there's surprise feature, Deathclaw from Fallout, and then there is Rat, and I'm not kidding, it's just Rat. That's the main enemy you fight, is Rat, and it feels good to shoot him, but at the end of the day, it's a rat.
Running New Vegas.
We start with Fallout 1 with rats, and then eventually
you got the rats, the death claws, and then you got the
with death claws.
The cowboy with the long rifle. Yeah,
guy with gun.
Yeah. I was a bit disappointed. It's a very limited demo, as you said. There's not very many enemies. There's not very much differences in the different stages, and there's only 2 guns so far, and they don't feel very meaningfully different. Like the second gun, the SMG, it has more bullets, but it does less damage, and it shoots bullets a lot faster, and it's kind of whatever. You still have the same time to kill for all of the enemies. You still run out of bullets in the same speed, so I feel like the SMG is balanced to be functional exactly in the same way as the revolver was, so I didn't feel the difference, you know?
But whether it's because it was short or whether it was that good, it's the only demo that I finished I went, holy fuck, I need to play more of.
That's not true. That's not true.
It was the demo that made me go, okay, I kind of really want to keep playing this.
Bro is lying on main. He's violating his journalistic integrity.
What journalist integrity?
Oh. Alright, so Pragmata released a demo, which came out and is technically qualifies for this next fest because it's also included in it. So, you're the spaceman on the moon. Humanity is depending too much on AI and robotics, and they're like, everyone's all depressed because they don't have to do work anymore, and they don't have to labor anymore because all the robots and AIs are doing everything for them. And so, this game is dealing with the philosophical quandary of like, what humanity is like when they don't have a purpose anymore. And it's something completely out of left field because this game looks like an arcade game. And it is not that. It's very strange. So the combat is very simple but different in a very strange way. Like, you have a bunch of different guns that serve different purposes and they all do very unique things. None of them feel similar. You're never going to be using, they don't like overlap at all. Like, they're just completely different use. They're different tools. They don't feel like just, and so you shoot at enemies. And once you lock onto an enemy, it starts this like mini game where you have to hack into the robots that are attacking you and to like weaken their shields or stun them or whatever, like various effects that this girl that you're carrying on your back the whole game is affecting upon the robots around you. And no, the combat's, I mean, it's okay, it's interesting. It's not that interesting. I'm more interested in the story so far, because that concept of like humanity no longer is really fascinating to me. And the game is really hinting very hard at something fucky's going on here on the moon, something very illegal. And you kind of show up at the beginning of this game, you're the only person on your base. Everyone else seems to have disappeared, just vanished off the face of the earth. Like, there's no bodies, there's no blood, there's no signs of combat. They're just fucking gone like the wind. And it's a very intriguing world. This oh my god, this little girl, like, it makes hints about what the lore is gonna be. Like, she's I mean, she's very obviously like your bomb or something. Like, she's basically this universe's equivalent of Metal Gears, basically. It doesn't say that, but that's the implication. That she's some kind of fucking super weapon that's gonna destroy the world. This game is very sentenced to be a dad-pilled. Or like, you have this character that just kind of like is forced to become a father figure to something else, and it feels very much like that, because like, this is not your daughter. This is a robot. This is a robot, and I feel like the game is also trying to hint at, like, it's dealing with the usual like robot thing, where it's like, oh, are they human, are they not, are they intelligent, like, do they have value, are they, you know, alive, do they experience the human condition and the mortal coil and all of that. The game is doing a very good job at portraying this robot character as like a human little girl, because like the way she reacts to things and the way she talks, and oh my god, the voice acting is so good. I don't understand. Most children, or like, you know, small characters or whatever, when they choose the voice actors, it always sounds like a 40-year-old ass woman trying to do a voice, you know. And this game doesn't do that. It just like, the voice just sounds like an actual child, and I'm like, I'm baffled by how they achieve it, because there's no way they got a child voice actor that sounds that age, that is that good. So it's still, you know, an old person doing the voice, clearly, but you can't tell. It's weird. Something weird. There are many sections that are made entirely just to make her seem just fucking adorable, dude. Oh my god. There's a couple scenes on screen now where like you're like in mid combat, and she's like scuttering around the map to try to like activate these terminals and stuff to like hack them or whatever and get you what you need. And just the way she walks is fucking adorable, dude. She like scampers around like a fucking rat. And then at the end of the game, like, she hands you drawings and stuff that tie in back to the opening scene, where like she's drawing and she says it's a secret, I can't give you this drawing. And I have found that every time you complete the demo, it's a different drawing. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it's just gonna play one after the other, or if it's gonna, like, depending on your actions, what the drawing is or whatever. And you also unlock a really cool skin for your character that's just like your skin, but she doodled all over it. And it looks hilarious. This game is very dad-pilled, you know. It's adorable, and don't know. I'm excited. It just looks adorable. The platforming is okay. The combat again is okay. The boss fight though was a lot better than okay. Because in normal combat, like, you know, whatever, you have the different guns, the different abilities, it all doesn't matter. It doesn't, it's just to your preference. But the boss fight is where all the different guns and different utility, different ability come into play. If you're watching me play this boss fight, I redid the boss fight over and over because I just wanted to learn all the abilities. And I with all due respect, I kicked the shit out of this boss, dude. I learned all the different tech, and I was speed as shit. Oh my god. Chaining all the different abilities and different guns and different tech was so much fun. But only in the boss fight. And also it was very cinematic, and like you jump on this giant robot and you're interacting it with ways that look really cool, and there's like execution animations, and it's so well done. I don't know. This game has a lot going for it in like a strange like Hideo Kojima way. It doesn't have quite the same spice, but there's something going on here that's like indescribable, like a Hideo Kojima game, like something amazing that cannot be put into words. And there's something going on here, and I'm gonna play this game. I'm definitely gonna play this game. The lore looks interesting so far. I'm really disappointed that the lore is mostly explored through logs and just stuff you have to read, which like I wish that would be like the central plot more than anything. But so far it feels like the lore is taking the backseat, and it's trying to focus on being dad-pilled to this nuclear bomb robot, to this fucking Metal Gear looking at. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
All right. Time's up, kiddo. Show me what you were working on.
Okay. Here, take a look.
Alright, so the next game I want to talk about is Far Far West. Far Far West I have mixed feelings on, but I'm really hoping when the full game comes out, and if I put more time in the demo, it would overcome some of the problems I had. The problem is I think Far Far West, there's a good game buried in there behind technical difficulties and a demo that's not showcasing what the game's capable of. So let's explore those two things first. For whatever reason, my FPS would have itself if I, even in windowed mode, the minute I expanded it to be the full size of my monitor, my FPS would like lose all of it, and I would have to like drop all the settings to low. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that,
he's
but whatever.
he's playing on Windows, and he on Linux and the Steam Deck. It ran perfectly fine at 90 FPS and 240.
The other thing is that it's a shooting gallery where basically it's got the format of something like Deep Rock Galactic. You got a hub world, you pick your mission, you get thrown in. There's a ton of stuff to do on the map, so you just roam around the map, see stuff you want to do, shoot enemies, then do the little mini game puzzle thing, and then you move on. The problem is that you would go into an area and it'd be like, okay, you need to kill all the enemies and then build like a pylon system to like power a generator. There would be 3 enemies that ran at you, you'd shoot them, and then nothing would spawn anymore. So it's a game about a shooting gallery, almost like Payday or any of those other like horde mode games, where they weren't really throwing a horde at me, and I was kind of dealing with everything super quickly. So you had objectives that weren't necessarily that fun, and enemies that didn't do a lot for you. But riding the horse was fun. There are enemies that if you shoot them on the map turn into a nuke that if you're close enough launch you across the map. It feels good to jump in the air, sidestep behind an enemy, and then shoot them in the head behind their shield. There are moments in this game that are really fun, and I imagine if you get some friends together, this is the game that you're going to be putting dozens of hours into as you're maxing out guns, completing runs, extracting when you feel like you've completed enough, then upgrading all your guns, your gear, unlocking new skins, and then jumping back into a new map. That's what this game's going to do. I love the art style. I just hope the demo gets past some of those technical difficulties or works on the balancing side of things to make the
I feel like
better.
it had a lot of interesting portions of the game going for it. It just didn't connect them well. It's, as you said, it's very much structured like a Deep Rock Galactic in like a kind of mixed with Fortnite. But it like didn't do anything with that, and it's just everything kind of just fell flat realistically. Another strange thing I had about this game is that all the assets and all the animations and all the movement and the feel of this game is extremely high quality. But again, none of these really high quality assets and like feel of the game connect to anything else. It's just kind of all thrown there into the same box, and you just kind of have to make your own game basically. I personally didn't enjoy it, but it has something going.
The demo should have rectified that. So I'm really hoping this game does more. I do think the bones are there for if you want that type of game and you want a fun cowboy, robot, occult western that this is going to be for you. I just really hope the demo does more.
This game, Deep Dish Dungeon, it's very much another like hanging out with the boys game. If anyone knows what this means, it feels very much like a General Sam or Sentinel Gam coded game. Every fucking game he makes a video about is exactly this game.
Okay.
It's you just have a bunch of dudes spawning in somewhere that makes no sense, and it's you have to survive. You have to survive with whatever you find on the fucking ground. And there's a bunch of giant monsters around the dungeon ready to fucking diddle your asshole. Yeah, I'm not sure what the goal is. I think we're here to steal treasure or something. It's very interesting. There's a lot of like puzzle-like aspects to it, where you have to like change different valves to raise water and lower water, or like move boxes around and move like planks around to get across places and stuff. It's very interesting. I feel like this would do a much better if I had more people to play with. Like if there was 8 dudes fucking around the dungeon, it would be a little more fun, if you know what I mean.
We need more dudes in the dungeon. Okay. Or cat girl VTubers. Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Come on. Oh. I don't know. This game, it's not my kind of game. There wasn't much going for it for me, but it is very much in a genre of game that I know a lot of people like, and I think it has a lot going for it. I think the art style and the way it uses the proximity voice chat and the way you survive and craft things and move objects around to solve puzzles is really cool.
Infinite percentage.
There's a bunch of weird interactions with like audio, where like for example, there's this like speaker like intercom system throughout the dungeon where in theory you can speak to everyone in the dungeon, but you can't hear everyone else in the dungeon because they're too far away and they're not at a speaker. And I don't know, that's really cool.
Also the gimmick behind is why it's called Deep Dish Dungeon is because if you've played Valheim, there are 3 slots, and when you eat something, you're
temporary buffs.
So depending on what you eat goes into those slots. Yes, and you get temporary buffs. So you can double your stamina or your health. But also you'll take damage or you'll get debuffs if you're not eating the right thing. So if you don't drink water, you'll become dehydrated. So you need to eat something that has water or that kind of stuff. And so part of the dungeon is gathering ingredients to make better dishes that have more health and more stamina. So as you delve into the dungeon, you're looking for stuff to cook with, not just solve the various puzzles that are scattered around. You also can't see anything unless you have a torch. So a lot of the game is getting the boys together and scattering in this dungeon, and someone's got to go find the key to unlock this door, but now there's a water puzzle, so you got to lower and raise the water levels, but it's prox chat, so if someone goes off in the distance and their torch burns out, you can vaguely hear them screaming, unless someone goes on the intercom channel and goes, guys, let's gather for lunch, and everyone gathers around to eat to then go back to what they're doing.
It was really funny how many times you were talking to me and you just kept walking off to the distance so I could no longer hear you talking, and I was like, what the fuck? Did you just stop talking? And I like at one point I clicked, oh that's right, proximity chat, duh, that's how that works. And
there would be moments where I would make a discovery, say it out loud, realize you couldn't hear me. I would go find you and you'd go, Rex, look what I discovered. And I would just go, that's crazy, bro.
Continually discovering the same things because we kept getting lost and losing each other. It's very funny.
But the puzzles are simple. Usually it's just kind of like, oh, there's something on the roof. Let me grab a plank and try to build to it, and then someone can run to it. It almost comes off as like dungeon meshy, where the dungeon's its own system of labyrinthian directions, but you can sit around the campfire and then build a stove and cook the stuff that you find in the dungeon.
I feel like that's what the name of the game is referencing, is dungeon meshy, yeah. What is it called in English? Delicious in Dungeon?
I think that's just a reference to
it's all
what this is. It's actually a reference to the fantasy realm of Chicago and their main dish of deep dish pizza. It's an isekai. That's Deep Dish Dungeon. We did a deep dive with the deep dish. Deep penetration with the sword, because I stabbed him.
I played a couple other interesting games, which I don't have much to say about, but I still wanted to show off because they're cool. Played a game called Goblin Vyke. which is a combination of kind of moonlighter, shop seller kind of thing. The combination of like potion crafter and something like Dead Cells combat. It's very endearing. The art style is suspiciously really high quality, and a lot of parts are like in the Hades art style, which is kind of fascinating. It was fun. I played it for like 2 hours. It was okay. I played a game called the Rig Riot, which is a Armored Core like, except for you have very high mobility, and it seems very interesting. I played a lot of it. I didn't really get very far. I couldn't even complete the first mission at all because it is hard. It's very hard, unless you do a lot of cheesing, which kind of feels counterproductive. And then we have a honorable mentions section, which Rex didn't get me any more honorable mentions to me, so they're all pretty much mine. We have the Starship Troopers something game. I don't even remember what the name of the game was. It's Helldiver 2's, but significantly worse in every conceivable way. It's, you know, it's still fun, but it's just Helldivers but worse so far, and it's always unclear what you're supposed to do. We have a Legionbound, which was okay. I played it for a couple hours. The matches were too long, and the permanent upgrades weren't powerful enough to be meaningful. But it was still fun. I played it for a couple hours, so that surely means something. Then we have the Arms of God, which is a Doom-like Vampire Survivors. It's okay. I don't like Vampire Survivors, but it's Dwarf Eats Mountain, which is just kind of like an idler cookie clicker kind of game where you get upgrades. Upgrades make you buy more upgrades and gain credits faster, and you know. And a very fascinating game, which you might have seen on TikTok all over the place. It's called Dinoblade. It's from this animator that makes really cool animations of dinosaurs with giant weapons, giant swords and stuff. And the animations are very cool, and they've been making this game for a while. The problem is the game has nothing going for it other than the animation. The animations look very, very cool, but the gameplay and the game in general is just kind of, it's a tech demo, clearly.
And that pretty much covers everything. So I think we covered a lot of games from Steam Next Fest, stuff that we think was worth at least talking about, to stuff that we think is worth looking at and keeping a closer eye of. Hopefully we'll actually do videos on some of the games that are coming out. They will definitely be staying on my wish list. So that pretty much is another Steam Next Fest quarter done in the month of February.
Yes, my name is Paris, or Paris Abasis, or whatever the fuck you want. But I'm gonna nice, okay, just fuck. Putting this video on the Patch Notes channel because I feel like demos just fit that channel's vibe more. So that's why I'm saying my name. Well, it's been fun. A lot of exciting new things to keep track of, as you've mentioned. And yeah, man, I love doing this. I love seeing new demos. Guys, please make more demos. I know there's literally 7,000 demos in this Next Fest demo, but like, come on. I want to try new cool things. This is really exciting. It's like Christmas every 3 months, you know? It's exciting.
So I think that covers everything. My name is Rex. I am on the Paper Prototypes channel. So you can find the links in the description there. I interview game devs and stuff.
Well, it's yeah, this has been fun. I love doing this kind of video, and yeah, like and subscribe, and I don't know, just suck me off. Look at my Ko-Fi, go look at his channel, suck him off too. All of the above. And goodbye. Don't drown.
And then obviously this is Paris's channel, so you should know him, hopefully, I guess, unless it's your first time, in which case, I'm sorry. Well, if you're doing full names, mine is Rex Lorem Ipsum. But hey, listen, I'm not the one where mom gets mad I say the full name. Sledding Game was a last-minute intro. Game for the... Yeah, I've been recording the whole time. I've just let it rip. Yeah, good luck, bitch, when it comes to the editing. Anyway, Sledding Game. Sledding Game is a game that we were supposed... But Sledding Game was a... You have to edit all of this. If you keep interrupting me, that's not my problem, okay? Get it together, and then we can start, okay? So... You're killing me here. Some of the porn ones look pretty good.
Jester gooting. I don't know what that word means. I have no fucking clue. Too old for this shit.
You're in your 20s.
I'm spiritually 60. Okay? Die.
Catgirl VTubers. Howdy potty people, I have 4 inches, Paris is possibly longer, he has refused to commit to his size.
Fuck, man.
We are once again streaming Steam Next Fest demos.
Asshole.
Of course I was recording that!
Yes. Yes. Yeah. This is going in the bloopers at the end.